Hey guys, what's up? It's Finch here. Today we're going to be going over the series between SoulWind and Empo for the finals of Smogon Tour 30. For those of you who don't know, both SoulWind and Empo battled their way all the way to the finals, having beaten various great opponents to get there, and both did well during the regular season as well, of course, to qualify. So, needless to say, both these guys are deserving finalists and potential winners. However, there's also even more history here to go along with this. So, Empo last season set the record for the most points in Smogon Tour regular season history, and he also won the first round of playoffs, but unfortunately fell short, losing to Podius in the next round. He's also made it far in various other tournaments as well, unsurprisingly. As for SoulWind, he's also a great player as well, having gone undefeated in SPL, won Smogon Classic, and on top of that, he's made finals of numerous other official tournaments, such as the official Smogon tournament, multiple variants of the official of Smogon Tour as well, and also he's just great among all of the generations. Overall, SoulWind's one of the best players around right now, and there's no doubt about that. So again, this can be a best of 3 in Generation 6, 7, and 8 OU. So you're going to want to stay tuned for the entire 2 or 3 game set. And finally, I just want to say a bit of a channel-specific note. Sorry that I haven't been as active and lively early this week. Metagame Monday was chill, but unfortunately no Tuesday video. And now this is all we're getting on Wednesday, no live or anything. I was out of the house from 7 a.m. for work all the way until 10:30 p.m. I actually saw some friends from a distance, which was really nice, and it was great to get kind of back in the social atmosphere for a little bit due to the pandemic. Of course, I had to do it from my car with a mask on for most of the time, but it's still really great to see people. So I'm in a pretty good mood, but definitely have been able to put in the same amount of effort as I normally would to the channel earlier this week. And I just want to say, I'm going to try and get a stream up later this week, either on Christmas Eve or on Christmas, probably Christmas Day. For those of you that are stuck at home during Christmas, if you want to see that, that's cool. In addition to that, we're going to get back to daily uploads from here on out. But yeah, no, back to business here. So game 1 is SOU, which in my opinion is the tier that SoulWind has the most advantage in. I think that Empo is not bad at the tier per se, but SoulWind has a bit more experience in it and probably a bit more results as well. On the contrary, though, Empo is one of the best SM players, whereas SoulWind is pretty good at it for sure, but might not be up to par with Empo. And in SS, I definitely give Empo the edge as well. But SoulWind has been 3-0 in SS thus far in the playoffs, so it's be interesting to see if he's going to be able to continue that or if he's going to fall short. Looking at the matchup here in the ORS game, we see a Volcaroni here for SoulWind, and that's pretty big. If it is a hidden power ground variant, I think it has a pretty good matchup against Empo, all things considered. Or alternatively, if there's any way to displace the item, I get a knockoff or trick off on that Heatran, then that's going to potentially even bleed out in the long term with rocks up and whatnot, repeated switches, so that could be cool. Another thing that I feel could be pretty good about SoulWind's team would be an Earth Power Mega Diancie. That would be a pretty big threat to Empo's team. All things considered, nothing really like switching into it. Clefable watching out, potentially being into a kill range for Moonblast, and Earth Power being able to really clock Heatran and Mega Metagross as well. So, yeah, and Excadrill too, of course. Triple Steel and all that. Yeah, as for Empo's team and his matchup, if he has a Hammer Arm or Zen Headbutt Mega Metagross that's able to dent the Rotom Wash, or it's not a bulkier Rotom Wash, so it's not Pain Split, that could potentially do well in this matchup, especially depending on the Volcarona set. In addition, his own Rotom Wash is able to pivot pretty freely, banning in the Clefable repeatedly, which gets openings for the Excadrill or Heat trying to get rocks up, and the Metagross really match things, so it'll be interesting to see how that fares here. I think overall I'd favor SoulWind slightly, but it really depends on sets and how it's executed, so let's get on into the game here. Right off the bat, we're going to see a Rotom Wash lead into an Excadrill lead, so here, I think a couple things strike me as pretty clear. It's not going to be a Scarf Drill from Empo, in my opinion. First and foremost, with Tornadus T plus Mega Metagross, especially with it likely being Bullet Punch, and this team as his Weavile counterplay isn't great. I don't know that he necessarily needs another form of speed control, but in addition to that, it doesn't look great against things like Thunderbolt Clefable without Leftovers on Drill. He doesn't need the speed control, and being able to swap moves and just have that longevity can come in handy for a number of common scenarios, especially when it's your main form of hazard removal when you have something like a Tornadus T on your team. So I think this is definitely not going to be a Scarf Drill. So if SoulWind happens to be a Scarf Rotom Wash, then it might potentially kill the cheesy kill here with Hydro Pump going quicker, although it might not kill in one shot since especially defensive drill. In addition to that, though, also when speaking of Empo and his positioning, he might also scare SoulWind out with the prospect of Hydro Pump not killing and or Excadrill being Scarf if SoulWind isn't sure, so I wouldn't be shocked to see a switch here from SoulWind. However, if you look at it, the ability to switch into a Mold Breaker Excadrill here isn't actually too great for SoulWind. I could see him just going to the Tornado C here, which is pretty safe, as I don't think an Iron Head or Toxic will be coming out, but we'll have to wait and see here. Ultimately, the play was for someone to stand and click Trick, predicting the switch from Empo, and it managed to trick the Clefable, which is huge, as if the Clefable is Stealth Rocks or Knock, all of a sudden its ability to really force chip and break past something like an Extra or the opposing Clefable, get Rock Subject for the Volcarona, is now very much compromised, and this is a great start for SoulWind, especially because I don't think he really needs the Scarf. I'll have to wait and see how this goes, but definitely a good start for SoulWind here. Volt Switch is going to do a nice 19% chip, meaning it was probably a bulkier variant of the Scarf Road and Wash, and it might have some special defense in its Clef. Clef locks itself in the rocks, though, which is bad for the Empo side, as that means it's a rocker, so just lock in choice. Yeah, but we're going to see U-turn here, some momentum being generated from the Empo side. All in all, that's good. But we see a knockoff here from SoulWind. Now, this is a sneaky good play, because if you click knockoff and the Clefable knocking off the Choice Scarf, then all of a sudden, all of his progress would be completely negated. But he managed to click knockoff into the Road and Wash, which is great, because now that's crippled, and he didn't risk that, and he's not going to click knockoff much in the future as well. So, all in all, a really nice, timely play there from SoulWind. The risk that worked out very nicely. Of course, Volt Switch there from Empo still going to do a decent amount of chip, and the Metagross comes in safely. U-turn here is going to be applied from SoulWind. It's going to do a little bit of damage, but ultimately not enough, whereas the Thunder Punching Metagross is able to really potentially do work here. But Drill comes in on that, and then Hammer Arm is baited, and Volcarona comes in, and now there's a burn here from SoulWind on the Metagross with the Flame Body from Volcarona, and that is a huge advantage for the SoulWind side. All of a sudden, the ability for Empo to break past this team is very shaky, whereas SoulWind not only has multiple offensive pieces that can potentially do well, but also now has him on the ropes defensively as well. So I think this is a great start for SoulWind already 7 turns into the game. I see Tornado C come in here now, and it's going to come in on the Road and Wash, which is fine. He's going to be able to U-turn and get some chip out. Ultimately, though, he doesn't love switching unless he's got to bring in the Clefable. But now the ability to threaten that Clefable is compromised for Empo due to the Metagross being burnt. So he's got to bring in the Drill here, and Drill is sure enough going to go Substitute as Tornado C comes in, and that's a cool set, Sub-Toxic and all, but, well, unfortunately for SoulWind, Heat Wave. Unfortunately for Empo, Heat Wave is going to break the sub, but more fortunately, Iron Head is going to get a critical hit there. That forces the Tornado C to click U-turn, so, yeah. And now we're going to see an Iron Head, but that's another Flame Body there, which is super duper unfortunate. That Flame Body means that all of a sudden, both Steel types that can be burned and abuse that Clefable are now burnt. So all of a sudden, I feel as if SoulWind just is a pretty much like walk away victory here. There's nothing much that Empo can do. And as you see the turns progress, Diancie is going to come in here now, and with this being Trick to Scarf, all of a sudden Moonblast is super threatening, and while the opposing Moonblast from the opposing Clefable is going to do a nice amount of damage to the Diancie as well, it looks as if this Diancie for SoulWind is really in the driver's seat here. Yeah, so we're going to see a Protect there, and we're going to see a double switch to the Road and Wash. Hydro Pump's going to miss, though, and seeing as this is knocked off, it's not getting past the recovery, and the Clefable can easily stomach those, and another Hydro is going to miss, and it's just kind of insult to injury at this point. SoulWind pretty clearly has a decisive victory in this Oras game. Even if it's 6-6, you can see Pain Spot's not going to be saving him. Hydro miss there. Yeah, you get a special attack drop, and there's just not much that can be done to beat this Clefable with the Pokemon that are burnt. It's also a Thunder Wave, so yeah, it's looking pretty much over. Drill here can come in to beat the other Clefable, which locks itself in the knock, and then get rocks up, and Iron Head could potentially flinch out the Clef, but the Torrent doesn't, though. But Heatran coming in is not enough for Empo to really seize momentum, as he doesn't have a great switch into Mold Breaker Drill either. Flamethrower is going to be an interesting move there, not indicating Lava Plume or Magma Storm like they might normally run. And yeah, Torrent wants to get out of the way, it just goes for U-turn. Road and Wash comes in, and here Toxic Miss is also quite unfortunate for Empo, who's definitely gotten the shitty end of the stick here. To make matters even worse, Hydro Pump is going to connect against that Road and Wash here, and now we're going to see Volt Switch take it out, making it a 6-5 game, so that's out of the way, and Diancie can come back in here. Empo ultimately just says, good game, fuck it, the game's over, so that's not great. Yeah, no. All in all, I think SoulWind had a really dominant performance there, but also Empo didn't get many openings. Perhaps SoulWind's matchup was favorable, but also getting those timely burns helped a lot. So now Empo has his back to the wall. He's going to have to win both SM and SS to have a chance at the trophy, whereas SoulWind is one game away for what seems like the millionth time. So we get into the SM game, and here we go. Empo using some baller stuff here. Volcarona, Medicham, Kartana. You already know how it is, as one might say. These Pokemon are agents. Okay, not Volcarona, but you know how it is. He's got the hitters. He's got the bosses in the back. that can pack the punch. SoulWind has some nice hitters as well, though. Kieran Black, he's making an appearance. That's Rotom Wash, Magirna, Lando, T-Backbone with Cart. Yeah, honestly, it's just Lopunny versus Medicham and Volcarona versus Kieran Black. I think that favors SoulWind a little bit, but ultimately the other sets can really dictate things as well. Medicham being able to pick up things apart is huge. Yeah, all in all, I think the match is pretty even. I think that it's going to come down to plays and decisive turns, but Empo is really good at pulling those triggers. So I think I'll favor him here, but it really can go either way. SoulWind's obviously a great player. If to make it this far, you have to be capable of winning in all 3 tiers, and that goes without saying. So let's get into the game now. Landorus Cheerlead on Landorus Cheerlead, because why not make the game even more similar here? We're going to see Rotom Wash from Empo on what I'm assuming is a Hidden Power Ice. Yeah. Good scout there. And now it's going to reveal to be non-lefties Rotom Wash, so it's either Yappa Berry or a Z item or choice, but it's going to be slower, so that U-turn, yeah, I'm surprised someone didn't scout for Scarf, but all in all, that U-turn, that Volt Switch allowed for Medicham to come in. Medicham is going to go ahead and get a high jump kick off from that Landorus, which is okay because it gets some chip there, but it does take Rocky Helmet in return. But now Magirna comes in here now on another high jump kick because Landorus want to get the hell away to that Ice Punch. Now he goes back to Landorus on the high jump kick, which is all fine and well, but he already did 65 to the Magirna, and now he goes Rotom Wash here, and another high jump kick comes because he was in Ice Punch range, and he crits the Rotom Wash. It would have been a 2 kill, but wow, all of a sudden, a Pokemon's down, and on top of that, Magirna's weakened, and on top of that, the Landorus comes back in to get a third Intimidate, but Ice Punch is going to take it out, so that's 2 kills and 2/3 of another kill for that Medicham, and that's just absolutely crazy. A huge lead all of a sudden for Empo with the Medicham still being alive. Now we're going to see a return there from Lopunny trying to take out the Medicham, and a high jump kick there from the Lopunny in the following turn as the Magirna unfortunately misses Flare Cannon, which is huge. All of a sudden, SoulWind has a chance to win as the second high jump kick lands and takes out the Magirna from a weakened amount. Thankfully, though, for Empo, he does have a Scarf Kartana, which can lock into Sacred Sword and hits everything on SoulWind's team for neutral or super effective damage. So while SoulWind is going to be forced to go for Sacred Sword, trying to revenge kill the Kartana, Empo doesn't have to risk a tie, goes to his own Landorus, and ultimately sees some momentum here, or go for the Z move to put this in Kartana range, which he just does that. And all of a sudden, it looks like the Scarf Kartana from Empo is just going to win the game when used with Volcarona. Speaking of Volcarona, it actually comes in here on a Sub-Zero Slammer, lives it at 1%, gets the Yappa Berry, and is able to take out the Kieran with Bug Buzz from there, which therefore forces him to Mega Lopunny. And in case last game didn't have enough Flame Bodies for you, this game is going to have one for the road, getting a burn on that Lopunny there of SoulWind, and Empo looks like he's just in the driver's seat as much as SoulWind was last game, thus making it a 1-1 series as Kartana gets a boost there by killing the opposing Kieran. Sorry, the opposing Lopunny, and after that, it's able to scale control as it lives in Sacred Sword from the opposing Kartana, it's able to revenge kill in return, and it would take out the weakened Magirna with a +2 Sacred Sword, so SoulWind's just going to toss it, and it's going to be a 4-0 victory, pretty decisive for Empo. So now we are in to the do or die Game 3, everything on the line. Winner walks away with the trophy, loser walks away with, well, second place, which is still pretty damn impressive in a tournament of this much prestige and this high level of skill. But at the same time, that's done enough. Both these guys are hungry. Both these guys want it. Both these guys have smelt this before and haven't quite gotten it. So it's going to be interesting. 2 of the best players going at it in the most recent generation, in Generation 8. So drum roll, please. You know, that was a bad drum roll, but you know what I mean. All right. So we got the game. SoulWind using the hyper offense with Reggie, Leaky, Spectre, Hydreigon, Magirna, Rillaboom, Garchomp. Looks like an interesting plan hyper offense anyway. A bit substandard in terms of the Pokemon selection, but still works nonetheless. Empo using a team with Reuniclus, Toxapex, Skarmory, Clefable, Pheromosa, and Hippowdon. Now Spectre can be kept in check for Empo. The matchup looks amazing, but Spectre does look devastating, so ultimately maybe coming down to that. We'll have to wait and see. Let's get into those leads, though. We're going to see a lead Spectre for SoulWind, unsurprisingly. Hippowdon for Empo. Empo wants to get that Toxic off or Earthquake damage off ASAP, so you know what he's doing. But ultimately, that's going to go nowhere as he just gets a Toxic off the Rillaboom, which, yes, it does put it on a timer, but it's not going to be sticking around forever regardless. This matchup, it's facing a Skarmory, which is less than ideal. So he goes for Swords Dance, like, you know what? Let me get some damage in here. Let me do that. So he's going to go ahead and with that Swords Dance, proceeds to go for that +2 knockoff. It's going to do 45 and trigger Rocky Helmet, so Rillaboom's taking a lot in return as an Iron Defense Skarmory is ultimately able to get a layer of Spike Up on the following turn as he's kind of forced to see a switch out there. Yeah, so we see Spectre come in. And Spectre is going to be a major threat as he can potentially take out the Skarmory Shadow Ball. He goes for a Nasty Pot here, knowing he's going to be able to force the kill on this Clefable and live any one hit. He goes for that Shadow Ball. It does 82 at +2, unsurprisingly, but Moonblast in return is going to do a nice 36% SoulWind and get a special attack drop, which is going to come in handy here as the Grimm's Nail could potentially be the Grimm's Nay could potentially be negated, but with that special drop, he's actually going to go Toxic here, knowing he can live 2, and get a knockoff in return for the Spectre's life. So that arguably saves Empo, kind of a Pokemon there, kind of some leverage, but all in all, might not be the end of the world. We'll have to wait and see. The Clefable was fired off regardless, is why I'm saying that, whereas most of that Shadow Ball damage was regenerated out, and Pheromosa is able to revenge kill this from 28% with the Ice Beam, take it out, making it a 5-5 game. Magearna comes in here now for SoulWind, and he knows it's not choice banded because it's Ice Beam and whatnot, not Triple Axle, or didn't show it anyway. So he's going to be able to U-turn out of there, and then SoulWind's going to be safe. No, he's not going to die, but Draining Kiss can't do much to that Toxapex here, as a Calm Mind is all he's going to be able to do while the Weakness Policy gets knocked off, and that's not looking great. It feels as if SoulWind is without momentum here. Stored power at +1/+1 is only going to be doing 37, so you got to get out of there if you are on the SoulWind side, and he'll actually do so with the Hydreigon, which is interesting, but Pheromosa comes in here now on a Substitute. So okay, probably get a Nasty Pot here in a U-turn, or potentially try and kill this with whatever attack you might have, but then the Pheromosa, oh my goodness, it reveals itself to be Triple Axle plus Ice Beam, an amazing tech for Pokemon with Sub and faster Ghost types. Wow. What a way to pull that off at the most amazing time for Empo, and all of a sudden, this Hydreigon is super weakened, and for Dark Pulse predicting the switch too, because there are no other Darknesses, so all of a sudden, someone looked like he was in the driver's seat to well behind. So yeah, ultimately what's going to happen here, sorry, I just going a little quickly, so it lived the Dark Pulse, and then after living the Dark Pulse, it went for close combat, and that took out the Regileaky, which didn't seem super useful here between there being Hippowdon and Screens not really being the saving grace for SoulWind in this matchup. So therefore, close combat takes that out, and now Rillaboom comes in here now, and Empo calls SoulWind going for the prediction of Skarmory, going for a Swords Dance or double switching out, and goes for the U-turn. And SoulWind predicts that. He doesn't go for the Grassy Glide, the safe play, and he's going to pay the price for that, as Empo's going to pull even further ahead with another Pheromosa kill here, bringing in Toxapex now, and it's a 5-3 game. Chomp is going to be here, but it has to be the rocker in this team. It doesn't look like it's going to be able to sweep past the Skarmory, unless it's just this team that forgoes rocks and has a Lord Chomp, but you don't really need that here, and it is indeed going to be rocks, and all of a sudden this Iron Defense, likely Body Press Skarmory, looks super menacing to the opposing team. SoulWind's just going to be able to bring in that Magearna, but we know it's a Draining Kiss weakness policy since he doesn't have an electric move. Calm Mind is all she wrote, as the +2 Body Press can do 57 and ultimately beat Aura Sphere Focus Blast. Skarmory's going to be able to live and also beat the Chomp from this range of health. So yeah, it takes 53 there, but it's still around half health. Hydreigon can potentially force it out into something like that Toxapex, as we alluded to, but that won't be enough with Pheromosa lurking in the back to revenge kill it, and the conventional means of fighting passivity with Toxapex. So yeah, substitute there on a Poison Jab to make matters even worse for SoulWind. Poison Jab being able to 2-kill that sub is huge for Empo. So yeah, that's going to get out of the way there. Another Poison Jab here, and all of a sudden it looks like Empo's going to walk away with the Smogon Tour Trophy. He goes to Hippowdon just in case another sub pops up and Sand would kill it, but that's not even going to be needed. He's just going to let go of that Hippowdon, except the SoulWind side looks at switching Garchomp here and a Toxic, and that'll do the trick here. Despite it being Lumberry, there's just no way for survivability in the long haul. Toxic can go ahead and be fired off to potential Scale Shot sweep, but Skarmory in conjunction with the remaining Pokemon just simply isn't enough. Haze from the Toxic just to ensure that it can't break through. Empo goes to the Pheromosa, which it felt unnecessary to me, but it didn't really have much drawback, I suppose, given that Skarmory was there in the background and all that. So yeah, he was able to prevent it from getting +4. Ice Beam's going to take out the Garchomp, and it would kill the Hydreigon as well, so it's going to be a good game. Yeah, so a really great game there from Empo. SoulWind, a good run as well, made it to 3 in the finals against an amazing opponent, now Smogon Tour winner like Empo. Also considered both deserve a world of credit. I hope you guys enjoyed the series, though. Personally, my favorite game was probably going to be the SM game. A lot of really good plays there with the Metachamp from Empo. That was enjoyable. But yeah, let me know your thoughts on the entire series, the teams used, the tournament, and anything else in the comments down below. I hope you all have a great day. Be sure to stay safe and stay happy. Yeah, all right. If you guys want to see more, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel because more is coming. In addition to that, again, thoughts down in the comments. If you guys want to get in touch with me, join the Discord or hit me up on Twitter. Links will be down below in the description. Have a great day, guys. All right, bye-bye. Yeah.